Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. You cannot save your marriage alone. But here's what they won't tell you. You absolutely can lead it back to life, even if she's checked out, even if she says she's done. I'm going to show you exactly how. Most men in your position already know what they should be doing. They're reading the books, watching the videos, tried the advice. But when you actually do those things, nothing changes. She pulls further away. You feel more hopeless. And you start thinking maybe you've done everything you can. Maybe it really is too late. But brother, that's not the truth. The problem isn't that you're doing too little. The problem is you're fighting the storm while you're still standing in it. Let me show you what's really going on. Picture your marriage like a living organism. Just like a body has organs, your marriage has core systems. And right now, those systems are bleeding out. There are 3 cycles killing your marriage from the inside. And until you understand them, nothing you do will stick. Cycle 1 is the belief flywheel. Here's how it works. You believe something about her. Maybe you think she's stonewalling because she's done, or she's pulling away because she doesn't care. That belief creates an interpretation. You see her shut down and think, here we go again. She's being defensive. That interpretation creates a feeling, frustration, anger, defeat. That feeling creates an action. Maybe you pull back. Maybe you snap. Maybe you try to force the conversation. But here's the killer. Your action makes her feel less safe. So she shuts down even more, which confirms your original belief. See, she is done with me. And the flywheel spins faster. This is the victim mindset in action. And brother, the world doesn't care about your victim mindset. Cycle 2 is death by 1,000 cuts. But it doesn't stop there, because now you're arguing about the stonewalling, and in that frustration, you both say things you shouldn't. The tone gets sharper, words get mean, and now you're not just arguing about one bleeding point. You've created 3 more wounds on top of it. The tone, the insults, the disrespect. It spreads like wildfire. One wound reopens 10 others. Think about the last argument you had. It probably started with something small. Maybe she didn't respond to a text the way you hoped. But within 5 minutes, you were bringing up things from 3 months ago. One wound reopening 10 others. That's death by 1,000 cuts. Cycle 3, the shutdown. And this is where it gets brutal. Because now there are so many bleeding points, so much resentment, that neither of you even knows where to start. You stop trying to express what you really feel because you think, well, what's the point? She stops opening up because there's no emotional safety anymore. And that resentment, it builds. You're sitting on the couch watching TV, and a thought pops into your head about her. And that one thought spirals into 10 more. Before you know it, you're angry about something that didn't even happen today. This is a cycle that makes things feel impossible. And it makes hope feel impossible. This is why it feels like you can't save your marriage alone. And this is why you need to kill the victim mindset and embrace thriving mentality. Look, I know this is heavy, and I know it feels heavy. And I know you've been carrying this weight for so long. But here's what I need you to understand. My clients start in this exact same position. Every single one of them, their wives don't want to try. Some haven't spoken to them in weeks, but they break through it. Not by trying harder, by leading differently. If you're serious about leading your marriage back to safety, trust, and connection, I want to show you how. Click the link below and book a free call with me and my team. We'll walk you through the heroic husband method step by step. This is the exact system based on the emotional layering protocol that's helped hundreds of men rebuild what they thought was lost forever. The link is right below this video. Let's get to work. Now, here's the problem with most marriage advice. They're trying to change your actions. They teach you what to say, what to do, what not to do, but they're not touching the root. They're not fixing your beliefs, your interpretations, your feelings. So you end up knowing what to do, but you can't bring yourself to do it consistently. You're brute forcing your way through it. And brother, brute force is exhausting. It's why you feel like you're pushing a boulder up a mountain. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And when it doesn't work, you relapse. You feel more resentful, more defeated. And you think, I've tried everything, nothing works. What's the point? Imagine trying to be nice to someone you resent. You smile, you say the right words, but inside, you're screaming. That tension, she feels it. It leaks through your tone, your body language, your energy. And when she pulls away, you think, see, nothing I do matters. But the truth is, you were never genuinely present. Your words wasn't backed by action. And performance without foundation always crumbles. This is why so many men who work with me say the same thing. They tried other approaches, but everything focused on behavior. We focus on internal shifts first, the man of steel mindset. And once you fix the root, the actions become effortless. Your words become powerful because it's backed by action, not just words, not just promises. Action, consistency, proof. This is what builds the nest instead of the cage. So let me show you the difference between surviving and thriving. Most men are surviving. They're reacting to every emotional storm. They wait until she's angry to start breathing exercises. They try to calm her down instead of leading themselves. They apologize just to stop the fighting. That's surviving. And brother, surviving is exhausting. Thriving is different. Thriving means you rebuild from the root. You stop chasing symptoms. You start changing the source. You go back to the belief that created the storm in the first place. This is the man of steel mindset, where you see opportunity everywhere, where you thrive in the storm instead of survive it. Think of it like being a lightning rod. Most men let her feminine energy hit them and they feel the shock. They react, they get defensive. But when you have the man of steel mindset, you ground that energy. You let it flow through you and repurpose it. You turn that charge into fuel. That's thriving. Here's an example. Most men see their wife's coldness as rejection. They think she's pulling away, she doesn't care. That belief triggers tension. Heart rate spikes. You either withdraw or you chase. Either way, the storm grows. But what if you saw her coldness differently? What if her distance wasn't cruelty, but her nervous system saying, I don't feel safe yet? That one shift stops the whole flywheel of resentment before it even starts. Suddenly, you're not angry anymore. You're curious. You're calm. You're in control. That's the difference between a man who survives his marriage and a man who leads it back to life. The difference between the cage and the nest. Now, here's the second truth. You have more power than you think. What you do affects how she feels. How she feels affects how she treats you. And how she treats you affects what you do next. Right now, you're trapped in a negative feedback loop. She withdraws, you get frustrated. You try to talk, she shuts down. You feel rejected, so you pull back. She feels abandoned, so she retreats further. And just like that, another cycle of disconnection repeats. Sometimes 3 times in one conversation. That's death by 1,000 cuts. Think about the last time you tried to talk to her about something important. She crossed her arms, her tone went flat, you got defensive, she shut down completely. You both walked away feeling worse than before. That's the negative feedback loop in action. But here's what most men get wrong. They're trying to change her directly. They argue, they plead, they lecture, and it never works. Because you can't change someone directly, but you can change the environment. And when you change the environment, her behavior changes naturally. Let me give you an example. Your wife is stonewalling you. Instead of reacting in frustration, you say this, hey, I see you shutting down right now. And if I look back at how I've acted in the past, whenever we talk about anything heavy, I always talk over you. I make it about me. I never really listen. So I understand why you shut down. There's no safety here to express what you really feel. What just happened? You created emotional safety. You didn't fix her. You changed the environment. You showed extreme ownership. And brother, that's masculine leadership. Not control, not dominance, leadership. Now here's the fourth step. You have to become a performer, not a pretender. You have to embody it and not just perform it for performance sake. You have to become. You have to become. And here's what I mean. Amateurs practice something until they get it right. But the pros, they embody. They practice until they can't get it wrong, until that thing becomes their lowest default. Even when they're tired, even when they're not thinking, they naturally do the right thing. And I'm going to tell you, especially when you start breaking down your ICT or you start breaking the patterns that she's used to, she's going to test you. She's going to get you when your guard is down, because that shows your true authenticity. That's why it's not just being a performer for performance sake or just doing it just because. You have to become. This is the transformation from surviving to thriving, from man of steel to Renaissance man. This is crucial because if your change looks forced, she'll sense it. If your tone feels rehearsed, she'll sense it. If your calm is just a mask for control, she'll sense that too. She's hyper aware of the littlest details you probably don't even notice. I had a client who used to lose his cool almost every single week. Not in some explosive way, but in those quiet, subtle moments that chip away at trust. The sigh under his breath, the irritated tone when she didn't respond the way he'd hoped, the tension in his jaw that said, I'm trying, but I'm tired. And I'm not joking. If you guys are just listening or whatever, literally, if you can see, his jaw right here, when he was just listening to her, would get tense. He didn't even know he was biting down. She saw it every single time. And look, he wasn't a bad man. He was just trying to perform under pressure without any internal shifts. So we started with the foundation. Every day he practiced grounding, breathing, building the man of steel mindset, holding calm even when she was cold or distant. About 6 weeks in, his wife, who barely talked to him, looked at him one night and said, you feel different. You're calmer. Something's changed. And she said that with a very precautious tone, almost kind of like poking at the bear. He didn't react. She didn't know he'd been doing the work. She just felt his steadiness. And that, brother, is when trust starts to rebuild. That's what it means to become, not just perform, not faking it, not forcing, but training until it becomes instinctual, until it becomes authentic alignment. Because masculine emotional leadership isn't about effort, it's about transformation. So let me give you 5 steps to saving your marriage alone. Step 1, master the man of steel mindset. Fix your beliefs first. Change how you see resistance. Change how you see pressure. Change how you see her behavior. Kill the victim mindset. Embrace the thriving mentality. When you fix the root, everything downstream changes. This is the foundation of the emotional healing process. Step 2 is understand your power. You're already affecting her behavior. Right now, you're just doing it in the negative way. But you can reverse the feedback loop. You can set a new trend. Everything is your fault, both good and bad. And that's your power. Step 3 is change the environment. Stop trying to change her. Change the culture of your marriage. Create emotional safety. Create trust. Create clarity. This is the shift from the cage to nest, from control to leadership. Step 4 is you have to become, not just a performer, not just doing it. You have to become. Train until the right thing becomes effortless, until leadership becomes a muscle memory. This is where surviving becomes thriving, where the man of steel becomes the Renaissance man. Step 5 is you have to master the external frameworks. Only after you fix the internal shifts, you focus on the external skills, the frameworks, the language, the strategies. Most men do this backwards. They focus on the tactics before the mindset, and that's why they fail. Look, brother, I've worked with hundreds of men in your exact position. Their wives didn't try. Some hadn't spoken to them in months, but they all started the same way. They fixed the internal shifts first. They killed the victim mindset. They built the man of steel. And once those shifts were in place, everything else came naturally. If you want to learn the exact internal shifts that make everything effortlessly, join me in a free call below. We even have a masterclass, and you can even go check our book down below. I'll show you the 5 proven steps to rebuild your marriage from the ground up using the heroic husband method in that training down below that's free, or you can get a more personalized approach when you book a call with me or my team. That link is also right down below. And this doesn't have to end the way it's heading. You just need a better plan. Brother, this pain doesn't have to be your ending. It could be your new beginning. Sometimes the most beautiful things come from the most tragic events. Lead your life and lead yourself first, and everything else will follow. I'll see you in the next video.